Welcome to Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and today I am here with Richard Stephen Bell, and you are the Executive Director of SOMAtv, and Gerard and Amsellem. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and you are the president of your own production company, New Wave.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you to you.
We're happy to be here.
So you both have your own production company, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, but also because you have collaborated in what is called What If Not Now? And
When If Not
I'm
Now?
sorry, When If Not Now?
That's okay.
And
That would be a good title.
That's a good
We
one.
should change it.
maybe the next time, right?
Yeah.
So When If Not Now is a collaborative mini movie. Can you explain what it is? And actually, even before that, can you explain a little bit about your individual production companies? So you can start first, Stephen.
Okay. Well, my production company is called SOMAtv Films, and it's actually a non-profit production company, meaning that obviously most people know what nonprofit means, but it basically, if you donate to help us make our films, it's tax deductible. And we actually have an Indiegogo campaign going right now. It actually ends tonight. And we've done pretty well, and it's basically for seed funding, but our goal is to take independent filmmaking and turn it into teaching modules to bring into high schools to help engage at-risk students. And Gerard and I mean, we can talk about this later. I don't want to take up too much time.
It's a long story.
But we're both teachers. We're both
Okay.
former teachers. He actually still teaches, and I taught for 4 years in the system.
And are you film teachers or what?
Gerard is a film teacher. I was an
Okay.
English literature teacher,
Okay.
but I'm also an actor and a screenwriter. And so when I stopped teaching, I started acting and screenwriting more. And our collaboration kind of came out of that.
And so did you all know each other before, like as teachers, or did
No.
you knew each other as?
Yeah, for a long time we know each other, like for about, I would say 20 years or more.
Oh, okay.
It's a very interesting, just to see how we started this, is like the first collaboration we did with Bartleby like 2 years ago, got some awards, so it came to the point that one day I had this story in my head that I wanted to put in film, because this is really my background, making things, films and paintings, and I said, who can I choose as Bartleby? And I was thinking about some vision of like who will be a great actor to do this, and Richard came in my mind. So I went to Richard.
Okay.
And I say, Richard, here's this story, this idea, that it's taken from a very famous Melville story, being like in literature too. I say, let's take this and try to do something. And the collaboration started from there. Sit down, we put things together, and the film started, and it became Bartleby in the film, and the film, become like what it is, with a kind of a success, short film.
And when you say short, is it 15 minutes? Is it
Right,
30?
exactly.
minutes.
It's 12,
12,
15 minutes,
yeah.
but
Okay.
That is a short film.
Yeah.
And then from there, when we finish this, we see the really like all this success. We say, let's go on this next one. And One If Not Now is coming from there with an idea, and Richard, having this idea about education. We put all this together. So in this, Richard is like, is really like the representation of like the process of the nonprofit organization. And in one way, maybe a little more like the process of me making. In a lot of ways, I don't know, maybe kind of the one we're thinking about, like more obsessed about making it. So New Wave,
Oh, I see.
New Waves is more production company, real production company who makes film.
Okay.
So that's a little bit the difference. But again, it's very connected. Because in this new movie, we produce both of them the film, he's going to write the screenplay, me, my part of the story. So there is a lot of movement into the production of
And
this.
you both are actually actors in this.
Not me.
No.
no. Gerard is actually the director.
Who's
The
other?
actor on the poster is an actor named James Whalen, and
Okay.
he is
Couldn't tell from the
he is
profile.
from actually an actor from Washington D.C. Who we cast in the role
Right.
to play opposite me, and he's a very good actor.
Very good actor,
Yes.
very sound, and I am really more into like the production and the directing and all this aspect of making films. So, and by teaching films, this too is very important for me. And by doing what I'm doing outside of this, you know, the idea of like the creative process, where it is, what are we doing, but the mind are like really communicating, and like we are like contributing to each other and to the well of each other, because as much, and Richard gave me some really great idea, and I do, and we contribute to do things who are really working out for the time being. He does, right?
Right. Well, actually, as Gerard said, Bartleby was kind of like the starting point for where we wanted to go. It was really a unique, I think, collaboration, because Gerard is coming from, he's an artist, he's an abstract artist, an abstract painter, and his view is very, for lack of a better
I am
word,
abstract. I'm a very
he's
creative
abstract,
and very
yes,
abstract.
he's abstract.
Okay.
And as a screenwriter, I'm very linear and very story-oriented. So when we started working on Bartleby, Gerard would have one perspective and I would have another.
And we'll come
Obviously, I
to-
wrote the script.
Yeah.
But we would kind of bang our heads together, which we like to do. And
Yeah,
that's
I mean, it's like how you
and
do
what came out of
comedy.
it was, I think,
Something
something
solid.
special.
Yeah.
Because we each gave a little, you know.
Oh, I see.
And,
And because you have such, you're coming
Yeah.
to the project with different styles.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
different
creating.
style and different vision, and we still do, you know, and I still do. So we're coming from, you know, different background. You know, background was I am much more experimental in the way I look at everything, even film in general. I teach film, and when I talk about film, I like this film out of the box. Was it going into a certain limit? And Bartleby was a combination of both. You know, still very linear, telling a story, but still very experimental in the way it's shot. And it's what we want to try to do again with one, if not now. It's like taking the ideas that, you know, we can share, put it out there, but still having something commercially viable that people can watch.
Okay. So you know what I'd like to do at this point? I'd like to take a look at the short clip, and then we can discuss it right after. So we'll take a moment and look at it right now. All right, so we're back, and that was a great clip because it showed a very short, short part of the film.
It's really just the opening trailer
Okay.
that we shot to kind of, it was part of our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign.
Right.
And we just wanted to give the audience something right away to give them a sense of what the story was going to be about. Like someone would look at that and go, well, who's these two guys? I have no
They're
idea.
brothers. It looks
Right.
like they have totally different lives and
That's
takes,
That's
different
right.
take. And so when you're bringing this to high school students and specifically to at-risk students, what are you trying to get? What is the purpose of showing them this type of film?
Well, it's actually, we're not actually showing them this type of film. What we're actually trying to do is get them involved in the actual process of making the film. So there's going to need to be a production budget, there's going to need to be a production timeline, the kids are going to have to learn how to do lighting, they're going to have to learn how to do screenwriting because there's going to be edits to the film. We want to actually take the production of the film itself into schools as teaching modules. And we found that at-risk kids, at least I found when I taught, that it's the difficulty is how to engage a kid, how to raise a kid's self-esteem, because
Okay.
a lot of the at-risk kids are struggling. And the easiest way for me, I know when I taught, was to engage them in story, how to tell a story. Everybody has a story to tell. And a lot of these kids are just waiting to tell a story and to learn how to tell a story. And what we want to do is teach them how to do that, because with digital media now, it's the tools, they're right in front of your nose.
Oh, I see.
They're,
Okay.
I mean, this is what every kid has, right? And you can make a movie with this now. So we know how to make movies as professional independent filmmakers with the big cameras, with the DSLRs, with the Red, with the Sony DSLRs, and with the lighting and with the sound. Now, the kids are going to learn how to do that, but they're also going to learn how they can make their own films with
Like
the
from
tool-
scratch.
From scratch. Instead of having, I know my son, who's in high school, spends a lot of time like this, and I know he's not doing homework, right? And wouldn't it be great if what he was doing was, planning out a storyline?
Right.
Because he is interested in filmmaking, and a lot of kids are. But they need to have classes that are going to teach them
And
how
so
to do
is
it.
that what you're proposing to do, to show people this clip, or, or is this just completely
This
separate
clip
from
is
that?
just an example
Of
of the
what-
storyline.
Got it.
Really, it's just to tell crowdfunding sources, people who are watching online, what story are they trying to tell? And this is the story. But how we're going to get the film made is actually what SOMAtv and New Waves Productions is, because New Waves is the professional filmmaking company
Okay.
that's going to help us
Okay.
with an award-winning director who's going to direct the film. Right here, right?
And then you would take this into the school,
Right.
and then the students would would all the students be able to do a little bit of the screenwriting,
Yeah.
helping with the budget, helping with the acting, all of that, or will certain
It's-
students do certain segments
It's
of the
all,
film?
in the production of film, we're gonna make a film of quality. So we have to be very careful of what we get the kids involved. I'm not saying that we're gonna get them involved in everything, because there is some part of the filmmaking who are very tedious and everything else.
Right.
But just the fact to be a part of a crew who is making a film is already extraordinary. I'm not talking about doing anything important, but just to see how do we make a film. Because in school, you don't see this. In school, I teach film. You see them doing their own project. But the idea is to put them in a professional level, having them at the middle of a professional crew, and eventually we'll see, but they're going to be supervised by people who are trying to make a film. So it's not
Oh,
like
I see.
we are trying to make them connect with the independent world, and eventually, they will be able to make it. But there is still the idea on the back that this is going to be a viable, good film.
So they're going to be professionals who are going to be assisting them
Sure,
every single part of the
absolutely.
way. It's not going to be a
No.
student-run
No.
film.
So, like, let's say the student will be maybe able to help on the camera or to bring something in, but it will be a shot. I will call the shot. I will talk to the actor. I will do all these things that any kind of director does. So this is going to be a great experience for them,
Right.
because they're going to be involved directly into the filmmaking, without maybe touching everything and doing everything, but eventually they will.
Right.
And they will have a background with more professional than being as just play.
Right.
So it
No,
will be
I-
connected as really like a real filmmaking.
Which will
you
be
know.
very valuable to
Very
them,
valuable.
both during that time and long term as well.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have about 30 seconds left, so we're going to actually come back on the other side, and I want you to tell us, maybe you could give us more specific information about what you expect to come from this effort. So this is Dustin's Kaleidoscope, and we will be right back.
Local government, local educational institutions, and local community members all use cable access TV to communicate their message. They depend upon it as an affordable means of outreach. Public educational and government access television empowers local government agencies, individuals, and groups to use the media to speak directly to their constituents in a more direct and cost-effective way. Make sure everyone has a voice. Support your local PEG channels.
Hi, we're back, and we are here with Richard and Gerard. Thanks again for being here. And at the end of the last segment, we were talking a little bit about what you expect to get, or what you expect the students to get from this professional collaboration. And maybe, Gerard, you could tell us a little bit about what you would expect to see from the students.
Well, it's really the idea, like any teachers want to, or any artist wants to, is to expose. Before anything, you have to expose people in an environment and try to really explain them and being involved in the fact of how do they connect with this, where do they find a place. And like what Richard has been saying, that these kids at risk most of the time find this into the creative field. I've been teaching for 17, 18 years, and I can tell you there is two very clear groups. There is the academic group who are doing very well in the system, and there is everything else the really big group of creative people who are often at risk will find really something very positive in this. Positive in, being able to be, a part of the production, but finding themselves too, and bringing their self-esteem to a point that to be functioning is so often as artists. Remember one thing, and I say it all the time, that most of the artists was non-functional in school. They were the kid at risk.
That's true.
95%.
Very
People
true.
say, oh, this is a great artist. It could be Picasso, it could be Matisse. Nobody does well in school. Any creative mind do not do well in school because in this structure which is very rigid, they don't find their place. So that's the card. The card is like, just make a space for these people who can really find them. And if they find their self-esteem there, we have something done, or we did something.
Right.
When
And
they
so,
say
Richard, is it the
something.
same
Well,
thing you're
he hit it
expecting?
right on the head, because right now, in New Jersey, in the United States, arts funding for schools is being slashed.
Yeah.
It's been slashed for years, and it continues to be slashed. And really, what we're trying to do with our film and with the nonprofit production company, SOMAtv, is to be able to go to a school and say, we have these film teaching modules for you, and we will provide them to you at no cost to you, because we're going to be grant funded, we're going to be funded from outside sources, and the schools themselves will be able to offer to the kids their choice of modules, probably as an elective,
Yes,
to help the kids that need it the most. And focusing on at-risk kids is really what we want to do. And the key word for Gerard was exposure. The key word for me is engagement, because an engaged kid is a learning student. And even though some people say, oh, well, it's just film, no, you can take a student and have them make a film, and they can involve their math class, they can involve their physics class, they can involve their English class. The film itself can be a vehicle for that student to focus on all their classes.
So it serves basically as a platform for them to excel in other areas besides
Yeah.
film,
Yes.
cinematography,
And-
movies, etc.
Yes,
And
yes.
really, it's all a question of self-esteem. It all comes back to the same thing. How do I fit it? How good I am in something? Comparing to a system who is valuing one thing, who is like, obviously, the test taking
Right.
and all
Right.
this very, very classical intelligence.
Right.
That is what it is. Kids at risk are just kids who are not fitting into what's giving to them.
And they could
That's
care
what it
less
is.
about, most kids that are at risk, that are struggling, don't care about the standardized tests. Or they may care about the standardized tests, but they don't have the self-esteem to do well
Yeah,
on
and
them.
it's not so important
And
for
to
them.
get the focus off that and on them as a person, to create a community for them, to create friends, to create a film crew that they can identify with and tell stories with and make films with. That's something that, we think it's just such an I'm excited about being able to do it, because
Right.
as an actor and a screenwriter, you want to go beyond entertainment with the stuff that
Yeah.
you write. You want to have some
Well,
sort of impact.
I have more reserve about it than Richard, and he knows. I've been a teacher for a long time. I know what the plus and the minus of school system. I know their rigidity. I know how difficult it is to break through. I know how difficult it is to bring new ideas. The ideas are great, but it's going to take work.
It is.
I can tell you, and I know, and
it's,
we know
and
that.
it's a long-term
It's gonna
project.
take-
It's
and
not like we're going to go
long-term
into schools tomorrow and do it.
It's a very, and like everything in life, everything you're doing, you have to believe in it and go after it. And hopefully by showing your passion and your involvement, is going to bring some more things, and as we go, we're going to build it up, obviously.
Yeah,
So, like I
yeah.
said,
So it sounds like part of what you have to do is not only bring this to the school systems or to a particular class or wherever you decide to go, but part of your task is to actually educate the school system
Yes,
yeah.
and that this
exactly.
is valuable,
Yeah.
that this
Exactly.
is a long-term
Yeah.
benefit for your students and
Because it's
things
a new
like that.
it's a new approach.
Yeah.
It really is, and you hit it on the head.
Yeah.
It's because you want to go into a school and actually work with them. You don't want to be a threat to them.
Right.
You want to be able to go in and talk and say, what do you need? And how can we help you? That's really our approach. It's not like, oh, we have a better idea, we're going
Right.
to teach better than you.
You want to work
But
with them.
You want to work with them, yes.
And I did want to show people some of your posters from some of your previous work.
Sure,
So
sure.
you mentioned Bartleby.
Yes.
And I wanted to show this. And if people wanted to see this, where could they actually find this?
Well, hopefully it will be one day online, I don't know, are we planning
Well,
to put it online?
we have not,
And-
it's not on, you can't see it on the internet, basically because it's been at film festivals, and
Right.
most film festivals
Oh.
will not let you post something online. But we are pressing DVDs in
Okay.
January, and they will be available on our website,
Right.
Which is
cinemaed.org,
cinemaed.org.
and also newwaveproductions.com.
Okay. And then the campaign that you currently have, which ends today
Yes.
on Indiegogo, is When, If Not Now.
Right.
And this is just the
This is the funding campaign for the film and CinemaEd. It's being run through CinemaEd, which is a
Okay.
nonprofit, so all donations to When If Not Now and CinemaEd are tax deductible. And any gift that is given before the end of this year will be tax deductible this year.
Perfect. And you mentioned that you have won some awards for this, or was that for
Well,
Bartleby?
actually, the awards that we won was for Bartleby.
Oh, okay. And what
Right.
did you win? What awards did you win?
Well,
See all on it, so it's like three
Like a
things,
ton, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
three
Gerard
things.
won a director's citation.
Oh, okay.
From Black Mariah Film Festival,
Oh, okay.
which is a film festival
Mhm.
named after the film studio created by Thomas Edison. And it's actually right here in New Jersey if you wanted to see
It's
the.
in
Right.
Edison.
It's
Is it in Edison?
West
It's
Orange.
actually in West Orange
West Orange,
at
around the
the
corner.
Edison Museum.
Oh, wonderful. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention.
Yes.
Yes, look at this beautiful poster.
Tell us what it is, Gerard.
Well, I'm teaching film, word film exactly, and this is my specialty. So I am, it's what I'm interested by film from all over the world. So past the last 3 years, I started to offer this to adults to come to watch foreign film with an introduction, with a connection, with a discussion after. And I started by European, series, and I went to a French series, a Spanish series, an Italian series, and it grows, the number grew, and I went from a small space to the Bird Center, and now I'm in the SOPAC, who is very well established. It's growing because they all the time in interest of people to know how do I connect with foreign film, what is a foreign film? And having me who have been like inside it for so many years, I can bring the most important film of the country. So now I'm in a Russian film series. Actually, I can tell you on January 11, I opened the club to everybody to come to watch one of the foreign films to see just what is a film club about.
For free.
For
Oh,
free.
that's wonderful.
It's
And
a
that's at
free
SOPAC?
showing on
That's
the
SOPAC,
SOPAC.
yes.
Okay.
On January 11, saying, come sit down and watch what you can learn from this. So it's a very interesting experience where I talk about the director, I talk about the country of the film, what I've been doing. I connect with all kind of different things, political, social, economical, and other director. And after the film, we discuss it. So it's really an educational. It's under education in the SOPAC website. And it has been a great experience because thinking that I could have 50 people on a beautiful spring day on Sunday afternoon, it means that there is a need. There is a need for this area to have quality film and to have education on film because film are really art form. You have to be educated. You have to know where they're coming from, why they are there, and where we're going. So this has been a great experience for me and feeling that I accomplished something by bringing again good things to people who are in need of something.
Right.
With,
And where would people find out about your film series?
SOPAC.
Oh, SOPAC,
The SOPAC
okay.
website.
You just SOPAC
Okay.
SOPAC website under education. It's written the Cinémathèque, who is based out of man.
And if people don't know at home, that's South Orange Performing
That's
Arts
right.
Center.
Oh, that's
SOPAC.
right. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And under that you find all. They have been backing me up everywhere, you know, and they have been great. There is advertising everywhere about
It's,
this.
it's,
It's been a
he really
great
literally
success.
started it from a small little group meeting in a
Yeah.
little art studio.
Really?
And grew it into
Really?
this great film club. And
Yes.
I
and,
tell, I run into people all the time who are like, "Oh, I wish I could watch a foreign film." And it's like, here it is.
Here it
you know,
is.
and
So
learn
you-
about it because a lot of people, you know, are intimidated. You
Yes.
know,
Right.
they don't
That's
know.
it.
They don't know what to say. They don't know.
Well, you go to see a 1930s Russian
Yeah.
film. What is this? You know, so they say Netflix, not Netflix. This is really I am explaining everything. So you start after a while. I've been coming. You know what happened in France in 1930, what happened in Italy in 1940s, what happened in Germany in 1970, and you start to make a map of history of film. And from there, you realize where we are now, why we are now, and you build an education. So again, as a teacher, it's interesting because in school, the kids will not react the same way as an adult, and by expanding it to adult, I have a completely different experience.
And do you mentioned films like from the 1940s,
Mhm.
1920s. Do you focus only on those
No.
films, or do you have
No.
more current?
Like let's
Yes,
say
correct.
if I take, you know, the French series, I started from 1947 and I finished in 2008. I pick out of the 50 years, 5 or 6 very influential filmmakers.
Okay.
So we're not talking, I want to see where we're coming from, where we are going. This is connected to this. If this guy did not exist, we will be there.
Oh,
The
I
Japanese
see.
series is the same. We're starting in 1950s. I finished in 2008. So I say, this is the first Japanese movie you're watching. You might not like it. It does not matter. Liking, we are not there for really pure entertainment. We are here for education. So you look at it, but they are very important people. You are looking at it. You start to take things from them, and the next one you see what the progress has been. And you can compare it to another country. So you become well-rounded. It's what we
Okay.
want as educator with adult or with kids. And he built a fantastic education, and you will see the reaction at the beginning of the people who are intimidated about speaking about a film that they just watched. Slowly, they feel more comfortable and they can speak.
Okay, well, we actually have less than a minute left. I want to thank you both for being here, but just one last thing. I won't be able to have you talk at length about this, but I wanted to show your abstract painting. You said you collaborated with someone
I
on
collaborated
this.
with a man named Michael Frank that will be very happy for me to say his name.
His other partner.
Right, and this painting is in the SOPAC too, you know, and there's been a great experience too. So
Perfect. Well, thank you both
thank you
very
to
much
you.
for being
Oh,
here.
thank you for having us.
This was fun. I
Yeah,
really
it
enjoyed
was.
talking to
It
you.
was.
This is Dustin's Kaleidoscope, and we will see you next time. Bye.